I hope that what it does is it brings more people into the top of the advice journey. So through making guidance more accessible and more prevalent across the industry, through helping more people in targeted support make the right decisions for them.
Hello and welcome. My name is Jackson-Obot and I'm Deputy Features Editor at FT Advisor. Today we're exploring a big development in the UK advisor and wealth management space. JPMorgan Chase's decision to retire the Nutmeg brand and launch JPMorgan Personal Investing. Joining me to discuss the strategy, the market outlook and what this means for advisors and investors is Claire Exley, Head of Financial Advice and Guidance at JPMorgan Personal Investing. Hi Claire, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thanks.
So let's start with the big question. Why the move from Nutmeg to JPMorgan Personal Investing and why now?
Well, this is a major milestone for us in the business as we complete our integration into JPMorgan. JPMorgan's brand is really well known and well recognised in financial services and comes with a lot of heritage and expertise. And we want to use that as we continue to scale as JPMorgan Personal Investing. But it's more than just a change of name. We're going to take all of the things that are excellent about the proposition as it was under Nutmeg, so great digital experience, transparency, all of those things that we stood for as Nutmeg, and build on them with new products and services.
And if we can expand a bit more on that digital side of things, how do you plan to preserve that digital first ethos while introducing the relationship managers and more personalised advice?
So we've seen through being one of the sort of first disruptors in the wealth tech space how important it is to have brilliant digital onboarding journeys, and so we've kept that at the core of our proposition. But we also know that people like to be able to talk to a human sometimes. We've had a team of people that can help people for the last 4 or 5 years, and so we often see people will start a digital journey, but then just want to talk through their approach so they can book a call, speak to an expert and get some help along the way. And then that can also lead into an advice journey where necessary as well.
Can you tell us a bit more about Wealth Planner and how it's going to help clients plan around their goals?
So the Wealth Planner tool will allow people to capture all of their wealth in one place, whether that's investments they've got with JPMorgan Personal Investing or held elsewhere, set out what their goals are, and look at what are some potential actions they could take to increase the chance of achieving those goals over the long term.
Okay. I mean, technology is a massive play here. I mean, is AI part of that as well?
So AI is really important as we develop, and we've got lots of initiatives underway to look at how we use AI to improve efficiency of providing advice and guidance to people. And we think that will really work together with the human interaction that we know people want to provide people with that hybrid journey.
And this evolution and development has come at quite a big time in the regulatory space, really, when you look at what the FCA is doing around the advice, guidance, boundary review and targeted support. How does JPMorgan Personal Investing strategy fit within that?
So we really welcome the advice, guidance, boundary review. I think we've seen over previous years that sometimes because that advice, guidance, boundary maybe wasn't as clear as it could be for firms, then some people have been reluctant to give any guidance for fear that they'd overstep into advice. Whereas we think guidance has got a really important role to play in educating people, sometimes that then gives them enough knowledge to step into an advice journey or to make a decision on their own. So we think the introduction of targeted support will help that and will provide even more of a bridge from an information-only guidance conversation through to advice where people need it.
And do you see yourselves as being part of that vehicle to bridge that gap between digital guidance and full advice?
We do, yes, yeah. So we under the current regulations, we do a lot of that already. So people can take a digital journey and get digital advice as part of that through our current risk profile questionnaire, and then they might also then maybe that's something someone's comfortable with when they are opening an ISA or making a decision that is still accumulating wealth. But maybe when they get to bigger decisions like whether to consolidate pensions or whether to take an income in retirement and how best to do that, they might want to step into a regulated advice journey at that stage. So we think the two can work in combination really nicely.
And do you think, I mean, looking at the market as a whole, what do you think, or how do you think this, the regulatory change around advice, guidance, boundary review, so always a bit of a mouthful, isn't it, will reshape sort of the relationship or the dynamic between wealth platforms and financial advisors?
I hope that what it does is it brings more people into the top of the advice journey. So through making guidance more accessible and more prevalent across the industry, through helping more people in targeted support make the right decisions for them. And that might not always be to invest. Actually sometimes, you want to be able to give people more directive information to do nothing right now, if they're worried about volatility, but they've got a long-term goal, and being able to do that in a clearer way under targeted support will be really helpful. So I think, it should give us a platform to help more people, and therefore more people will end up getting either the guidance support they need or the advice that they need at the time they need it.
And with your business, you have quite a really, it's fair to say, a wide overview of the way investors' attitudes, sentiments are changing. Are you seeing any trends at all? People focusing on income diversification. There's a lot about ESG. Over the last year or so. I mean, what are you sort of seeing?
Yeah, so we see definitely people are, engaged in the factors that influence their investments. So, we see people can be looking at the impact of geopolitical events or potential speculation around an AI bubble, and they can be, conscious of that and want to talk to somebody about the impact that might have. And that's where it can be useful to take them back to their long-term goals and what their time frame is. We do see people wanting to diversify their investments and having that choice. We have a socially responsible investment fund, but all of our investment options actually have an ESG score, and people really like the fact that they can see exactly what they're invested in. They can see the ESG score. If socially responsible investing is important to them, they've got an option to do that. So yeah, I think people are engaged and have views on where they want to invest and like the fact that they can see exactly what they're invested in.
So looking at sort of staying with ESG in the way that regulation is evolving in that space, how do you, JPMorgan Personal Investing, continue to keep up with what the FCA is doing? What do you sort of see in the future?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the FCA messaging is all around transparency, and that's something that actually we've always been really focused on and will continue to be. So whether it's around the sustainability of a fund, the ESG credentials, fees, everything like that, then transparency is a real core value for us. And I think that aligns with a lot of the messaging that's coming out of the FCA as well.
Great. And then just looking ahead, like, where you're going next, and just be interesting to sort of get your perspective. What do you feel makes you stand out from sort of other players in the market? I mean, your brand is globally known, but what do you feel makes you stand out?
Yeah, so I think you're right. The brand's got great recognition, but I think that will get awareness from consumers. But actually what stands out to our clients for us is great technology supported by humans where needed, the ability to give that guidance and advice, and then the addition of services like digital wealth planner, relationship managers, and then coming next year we'll also be introducing DIY investment as well. So people, again, back to what we talked about earlier, people will have choice to invest how they want to, and we think that's really important to try and, we know in the UK people don't invest and miss out on that longer term growth maybe compared to other countries. So that's something that we think by giving people all of those options and the support they need to make the right decisions, then that'll make us stand out in the market.
And there's been quite an interesting development, isn't it, with financial literacy is going to become mandatory in primary schools.
Yeah.
So I guess that will at some point feed through, but then there's still adults. You've got swathes of adults who haven't been through that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think financial literacy is really, really important to help people understand what they need to do. But we also need to work on the implementation. So it has to be easy. So, it's one thing having the knowledge, the theoretical knowledge, but actually, people are time poor. So making it easy to implement that knowledge is really important as well.
Thanks, Claire, for joining us today. It's been really interesting chatting with you.
Thanks, great to be here.
And thank you for joining us. For more news and features and analysis, please visit ftadvisor.com.